Okay. Now, to expand on the last video where you're essentially establishing an online presence and a legitimate business name, a legitimate domain, and a legitimate email, and figuring out a way to get connected with potential clients. Now that you've that taken care of, one of the biggest things that you want to determine right off the bat here is how your pricing is going to work for whatever service. This applies to any business, any product, any service that you could offer, right? So what I'm going to explain here is authority pricing. This is something that if I had applied this when I was younger in business, then I probably would have saved myself a lot of hassle. So this is authority pricing. This is a term that I came up with, but we could also call this AKA P-O-P, okay, which is peace of mind pricing. Because this is a thing, guys. There are more fraudsters than ever now, okay? The internet has only made that problem worse, okay? People are becoming more and more skeptical about making purchases and about signing up for things, especially if it's through the internet, okay? So if you can establish some authority, you can establish some credibility with a good, clean website, a good, clean name, and a good, clean email address, then people are already way more likely to purchase whatever you're selling and to sign up for whatever service you're providing to them, okay? There are more fraudsters than ever now, and people are very skeptical. I'm just going to write that down here. Very skeptical. So obviously, when you're just getting started with this, with really going legit, a big thing for credibility, we're going to do a couple credibility tips here. Couple credibility tips. So one, when you're just getting started, which this changes over time, when you're getting started, the first credibility tip here is essentially what I just explained in the last video, is the name, the website, and the email matter a lot. It matters a lot. And it might even be worth it to invest in buying a domain from somebody who already has it if you really are serious about your business. So, credibility tip, I explained this in the last video. You basically, the name, website, and email, it's super important. Super important. Number two, once that stuff is established, basically your shortcut to getting business off the just very quickly, if you're a new business or if you're an established business, is somehow getting some form of references lined up. References, now if you have a product, some type of reviews, and don't use fake reviews. That is just people using fake reviews. It's just, the irony is just kind of brutal on that. So whatever you're using for a reference, legitimacy with your references is pretty much just as important as having references to begin with. Okay, so say you're new. Let's just space this out a little better. Move this over here. So say you're new. we're going to do this in 2 categories. New businesses, meaning you have basically done nothing with this new business yet. You haven't really made that much money, or you don't have that many customers or something. Like, that's a whole other discussion. But basically, new businesses, what you want to do for references is, it's actually worth it. Here, provide your new service or product for either a massively discounted rate or for free, air quotes, because when you're conducting business, nothing that you're not doing it for free. Okay, it's an investment. If you're giving something away for free, and you might be playing the long game with something, but don't actually think that you're doing it for free, because you're not. Okay, it's a business. You're not doing it for free. Okay, so basically, provide your new service or product for either a massively discounted rate or for, air quotes, free. And the catch with doing this stuff is that you have people leave a review or testimonial or a testimonial, right? Depending on if you have a product, you're probably going to be using reviews, and if you have a service, you're probably going to be using testimonials, right? So if you're just getting started, you can do whatever. You can provide the product or the service for a massively discounted rate or for, air quotes, free, and have people leave a review or a testimonial, okay, just to get started with references. Because after you have the name, the website, and the email, basically getting references is huge. Because if you're going to a business, say you're business to business, and you're going to a business and you're telling that business that you can take care of their landscaping, for instance, on a contract for 1 year, and it's going to be $40,000, you can have your name, your website, and your email, right? But if you can also have references and you can have businesses that have a great review of you, you're probably going to get the job. You're probably going to get the job. That's probably going to work out for you because of references. And obviously, for more established businesses, reach out to customers, clients, and ask them to leave a review. Leave a review / testimonial, and don't be afraid to do that. You provided a service. Those people, for those clients, you provided a product or something. Maybe they say no. Maybe you incentivize it somehow. But you can get reviews and testimonials from customers, clients who were stoked about what your business did in the past. You can get that. Okay? And just to bring it back around, all of this stuff is working towards this authority pricing model that I'm talking about, or peace of minds. I mean, authority pricing model gets it across here. Okay, so now, number 3, after your references, because I'm talking about you're starting off here. You might not, or even if you are established, you're not where you want to be. So your numbers from the past are not really going to get you the new business necessarily that you're really looking for. Because keep in mind, when you're using these references here, you're not breaking down the profit and cost statement for your new customers that was from these previous jobs. You're establishing credibility with this, and you're basically saying, this is what I've done, and it doesn't matter how much it costs. I did a really excellent job, so now what I'm doing is also going to be excellent because we are excellent. Okay, so that's what you're doing. So you have your name, your website, the email, you have your references, and now what's next for credibility? Say you get someone looking for the service, but they're not totally sure yet. Basically, this is something that you can do, which I would be careful with this approach here unless you're providing either very high volume, or that's your goal, to provide very high volume, or you're basically really going for a massive deal that could potentially pay off. But this is what I'm going to talk about here. So credibility tips: if it's a service, for services, or let's just title this first. Basically, this is going to be payment flexibility. Let's go on. Okay. So, say your new business, you provide some services for cheap or for free, and you get some testimonials. You have your name, you have your website, you have your email. People have a way to contact your business. Now, you're looking to get a big deal. You're looking to get a service. You're looking to get a contract. You're looking to get a contract. You're looking to sell products, something like that. So now people are still a little bit hesitant to really go with your business for this. So what are you going to do? One thing you can do is offer payment flexibility. And this is, once again, all tying in with this authority pricing model, which I'm going to rename. Which we can APM. You know what? And we're also going to change this term. We're not going to call it payment flexibility. We are going to call it customer confidence. So, what I mean by customer confidence is you can say to new customers something like this: we are so confident in our service that we will. This is where it starts to get, this is more of a negotiation tactic for securing deals, but this is how you're going to actually make the amount of money that you want to make, and not just take offers and not just have customers negotiating with how much it's going to be. This is if you want to use the authority pricing model here, and you will not go down on your price, basically, because the easiest way to get new customers is to just drop your price so low that it's obviously going to be way more competitive than everyone else's price. Yeah, you're going to have so much business, you're not even going to know what to do, and you're not going to make nearly as much money as you could if you were more authority when you were pricing things. So basically, customer confidence at the end for credibility tips in regards to payment is we're so confident in our service that we will give you 100%. This is a baller play here. You have to have a good amount of toughness and stress tolerance to really sell this here. So we will give you back 100% of your, now you can word this how you want, but investment / money / payment if you know what, actually 50%. Because you can't work for a month and not make any money. Like, let's be real here. Investment money payment if you are not happy with the... Let's get this moved over here. How do we get this thing? I can just move this off. So confident in our service that we'll give you. I really don't like doing this. This is really if you really want a deal from a huge potential client. Or, like I said, we're just going to do some conditions to this. This is kind of a last resort here. So, conditions. This is only if you are going for very high volume or you are going for a huge client. Okay. These are the only two conditions that you're going to actually use this customer confidence in regards to payment thing here. Okay. In terms of potentially offering some type of guarantee, which stay away from it. But if you're really trying to secure a deal, this works. And it works very consistently. So, we're so confident in our service that we'll give you back 50 to 100% of your investment money payment if you are not happy with the service / product. Don't do this, guys. But if you actually will go out of business if you don't get a client, and you don't want to drop your pricing, then you can do this, which I don't even want to put this in a video, but it's a last resort here. So that is something that you can do if you're going for very high volume or you're going for a huge client, is you can offer a 50 to 100% investment refund. Basically. Now, this is more for products, but some products you don't even want to do this. Okay. Great. Credibility tips. Name, website, email. You get your references. And if you still don't get deals through the legitimacy and the referrals, then you can offer a money back payment. I wouldn't do this. Okay. I just want to make it clear that I would not do this, but you can. It's possible. Because all of this is coming back around to the authority pricing model, which is once, okay, I'm just going to adjust this. Once you've established your authority this is the keyword, and your customer is confident you can, air quotes, stick to your guns. And this is where it gets a little bit more exciting than what I've talked about thus far. You can stick to your guns and charge what you want to charge. And this is the authority pricing model, guys. Basically summed up, this is what this is, okay? Once you establish your authority and your customer's confident, you can stick to your guns and charge what you want to charge. Okay, now, obviously, if your rate is so high outside of the market that's typical, you're probably not going to get the quote regardless of how confident the customer is that it's going to get done right, or that the product's great, or that if it's so much higher than everything else, like, you better have the best. You better be the best. But if you're just getting started, you might not be. So basically, you're probably not. So you want to figure out what you can charge and the most that you can charge. So I'm going to write this down here. You want to figure out the most that you can charge. Not, capital not, the least, to, air quotes, stay in business. Probably one of the biggest mistakes that people make with their businesses is they figure out the least that they can charge to enter that industry, and then they get cast as the cheap service. And then guess what? They don't make money because there's a reason why people are charging what they're charging in that industry. There's a reason why it's expensive, and it might take you a little bit to find out that if you want to just go into an industry and try to undercut everybody's pricing just to get more business, you're going to go out of business. Okay, because eventually you're going to want to charge more, and your client base is going to expect a certain amount of money for services, and they are probably going to give you pushback if you attempt to raise prices on them. Okay, so let's not do that. Once again, this from my own experience and from a lot of people's experience, they'll tell you this probably, is this is not a good way to start a business. It's not. So we're just going to title this little section here the APM, or authority pricing model. So basically, once you establish your authority and your customer's confident, you can stick to your guns, charge what you want to charge, guys. Because that's why you're doing this business anyway, because you want to make a certain amount of money and you're not going to settle for less. So don't start off by settling for less. And now up here I did say providing this, but this may be a couple times. Get 3, 4, 5, 6 reviews, testimonials. You don't need much more than that, man. Unless it's some type of product that is super expensive. Like, even if you just have a couple, it's going to be enough to get started at least. So once you do that and you have that authority built, then this is what you want to do, because you don't want to be the cheap service. You don't, unless you have such high volume capacity that you basically can make 1 cent off of everything you do, and do that 1 billion times or something, or 1 million times to make money, which that's its own problem to start. So basically, you want to figure out the most you can charge, not the least, to stay in business. when the client asks what the pricing is, there are two approaches, and this can work for products like a car or clothes or something, and it can work for services. So basically, you can have a landing page for a product that has your price on it, but for really high-end products and really high-end services, you're not going to see a price on the internet for that, okay? Because the sales team does their thing and they don't want the customer to think something's going to cost a certain amount and then go into it with that notion. They want to establish the value from a sales perspective and get the most amount of money possible for what they're doing because they want the most that they can charge. They don't want to set a price that's going to be realistically probably changing pretty often on the internet and then have to stick to that price. They don't really want to do that, okay? So when the client asks for what the pricing is, there are two approaches here. So you can close the deal over the phone with your air quotes authority price, so I'm just gonna space this out, with your authority price, or you can send an email. This is email, keep it professional. You probably don't want to send a text if it's a big deal, unless you personally have some type of rapport with this customer. You probably don't want to just send a text. So you can send an email with everything that you're going to do listed out, or what the cost of the product is with your list of the different features. Now, this is another selling point. This is getting more into sales, but this is basically establishing even more credibility all the way up until the very point where that customer signs for that payment. With the listed contract and your authority price. Great. So these are your two approaches, really, if you want to be legitimate and you don't want to be messing around with customers who don't have the money to deal with stuff, or they don't have really that much of a want for what you're doing. And this is basically how you take care of this. So you can close a deal over the phone with your authority price, or you can send an email with the listed contract and your authority price. Don't call it an authority price. Just don't call it an authority price. That's not like a sales point, okay? It's not an authority price. You don't go, yeah, so this is going to be $2,500 a month, and that's my authority price. Don't say that. That's not a good way to approach it. So basically, the way that you want to do this is you want to, let's just not even call it this. Okay, let's just call it authority pricing model. Once again, just wanted to check in with this. Be very careful with doing this. That this is a last resort if you've already made a massive investment with a customer and you're looking to really lock that deal in. Like, even for products, I mean, giving full refunds for stuff, I mean, dude, like, you want to be careful doing that. But anyway, so now we're back to, you can close the deal over the phone with your authority price, or you can send an email with the listed contract and your authority price. Now, if you get pushback on your pricing after you've done all of this, right? After you've done all this, if you get pushback on your pricing, then you walk. You're gone. You're done. That's it. You're gone. You do not tolerate pushback on your pricing after you've done all this. If you haven't done all of this stuff above, or this, you don't want to do this. You don't want to do this. But if you've done the first two things and you're getting pushback on your price, then you can send them an email with the listed contract of all of what you're going to do and stay at that price, but don't drop your price. Do not drop your price. Set a price and stick with it. That's the key for the authority pricing model. Set a price and stick to it. I'm going to write this down because it's very important. If a customer is hassling you about the price, maybe give them a range, but plan on charging the full amount. Don't do that, actually. That's not very ethical, really. I mean, I want to do that. But if a customer is hassling you about the price, it's just don't do that. But if a customer is hassling you about the price, walk. This will establish even, let me capitalize this, even more authority. Because by doing this, you're saying, okay, I'm just going to go and do this or provide this or give this product or something to someone who's going to pay the amount that it costs. That's it. So then they go, oh my goodness, this is a really good service. This is a really good product. I'm going to pay the full amount for it because they're just going to go and do this for someone else and they don't want to get left behind. So this also establishes some type of fear of missing out with the customer too. And they're way more likely to swing back around and actually take you up on that offer if you just walk. Because let me give you an example quick of what it looks like if you drop your price. Say you've done the steps above. Say you've done the steps above and they're still hassling you over what the price of it is. Okay. Basically, this is what this is going to look like. Say your service is $2,000 a month. This is an example conversation. Hey, after reviewing the project and scope, we are looking at $2,000 per month paid in full before work starts. Happy to get started when you guys are ready. Great. So you send that. And then they say, hey, sorry, but $2,000 per month is simply not in the budget right now. Now, this is highlighting a problem with who you're targeting as clients to, because your clients, if you're charging $2,000 a month, this should be not that much money for them. But basically, if they say, sorry, $2,000 a month is not simply in the budget right now, or $2,000 a month simply not in the budget right now, or they say something like, that seems like a lot for what you're doing, or we found a better price, or what else? Not in the budget, it seems like a lot for what we're doing, we found a better price, or something like, we're going to hold off for now. Do not say to this person, if they say something like this after you've already discussed the project scope, all of this stuff. And this can apply for products too, right? But basically, we're doing an example for some type of contracting. If someone says this and they say basically any of these excuses for something that, if this business a business, like, you're going to be making them more than $2,000 a month. So, especially if you have some type of money back guarantee, I mean, dude, like, you should be selling this stuff. This should not be that difficult. But if someone says something like that, then basically what you can say is, you hey, no problem. I understand that it's an investment. I understand that it's an investment. So this is where the wording, this is kind of gold, what I'm about to type here, because this is big. So, hey, no problem. I understand that you don't say a big investment, because for most businesses, $2,000 a month in this example is not that much money. Hey, I understand that it's an investment for this is business to business sales right here. Hey, no problem. I understand that it's an investment for the business, and maybe you found another way. This gets can be a little bit cagey here, but hey, no problem. I understand that's an investment for the business, and maybe you found another way to boost. Say you're doing business to business sales, marketing, advertising, something like that. And maybe you found another way to increase your revenue. Okay. Maybe you found another way to increase your revenue. And that might be... Let's not get too cagey here. I understand that it's investment for the business. Maybe you found another way to increase your revenue. Maybe you found another way to increase your revenue. You don't want to attempt to prove yourself any further at this point, because you're only weakening your negotiation tactics. This is an authority pricing model. You already set your price. You know what it's going to cost for this, and you're going to stick to that price. And this is how you actually have a successful business. So if they say something like this, hey, no problem, I understand it's an investment for the business, maybe you found another way to increase your revenue. I hope you guys find a lot of success. Hope you guys find a lot of success. Happy to don't give them another offer at this stage. Don't give them another offer. You have to learn how to walk. You have to learn how to walk. That's the key of this authority pricing model. Hey, no problem. I understand it's an investment for the business. Maybe found another way to increase your revenue. I hope you guys find a lot of success. You have a great business, and we are more than happy to work with you guys if the investment makes sense at any point. Appreciate it. Name. That is all you have to do. And guess what? They're probably going to end up hiring you because they're going to go, oh wow, this guy is so confident that this service is so this valuable that he is actually willing to send us on our way because we're saying that this is too much money. And they're probably going to be like, oh, wait a minute. Yeah, no, we'll actually do that. Because some people will also be testing your price with this. So you don't want to cave. You don't want to cave on this. It's very important to not cave. So that's basically what you're looking at for the authority pricing model. And if you do this and you do these steps above here, the name, website, email, get that legit. You get your references, and if you really have to, you get your customer confidence in regards to payment. I mean, you should be able to sell easily with these three things here. This is great stuff. I mean, this is excellent. If I had known this stuff years ago, this would have saved me so much hassle over the years. But just to review at the end here, using the authority pricing model, more fraudsters than ever. Credibility is more important than it's ever been. You get your name, website, email established, good. References, new businesses, you can get your references as a new business, and you can also, if you're an established business, reach out to customers, clients from the past. Customer confidence in regards to payment, this is the last resort. You can basically give them a money back guarantee if they're not happy with the service product. And people probably are not going to use that. So that's kind of why it's not the worst thing in the world to include it, but it's also not great. But that's if you're going for huge customers or huge volume where people are not super, super confident. And then once you've established your authority, you can stick to your guns. You can figure out what the most you can charge is. You can close a deal over the phone or with an email, and you can set your price and stick to it. If the customer questions the pricing, if they raise that as an issue, then you wish them on their way, and you wish them good luck, and that you're happy to work with them in the future if it makes more sense for them, but you do not drop your pricing. That is the Authority pricing model, and it works.